You guys have got so much energy today. I was expecting you guys to all be hungover. I watched your stories last night. I was stalking you on the gram. You guys were wild last night. You look in fire in Emerald, may I say. I was like, these guys are animals. I'm surprised you've got so much energy this morning. It's all those fizz sticks, right? I just had my first one this morning. It was revelationary. Amazing. Who loves the Spice Girls, by the way? I love the Spice Girls. Did anyone see them live this year? Yes, I was there in my Union Jack dress, just loving my life. Just love the Spice Girls. So if you love the Spice Girls, you're probably born around the same era as me, which means a lot of your childhood was probably spent watching Disney movies. Yeah? Disney princess movies. Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Little Mermaid, The Lion King, maybe, Aladdin. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I really feel like Disney kind of sold us women this story that once this man comes along, once this prince comes along, then we'll suddenly live happily ever after. And that's when all our dreams will come true, right? Now, I don't know about you, but I loved the Disney princesses. I used to dress up as a Disney princess, and I remember, turning my bedroom into a palace, putting on, my princess dress, and there was this game that I used to play where I would literally, this is the game, I used to lie down across two chairs, cross my arms, and just wait. That was the whole game. That was the whole game. And just wait for my prince to come. And yeah, he didn't show up, but for some reason I didn't get bored of playing that game. I actually fantasized so much about having this perfect fairy tale wedding that actually, on one of my birthdays, I actually dressed up as a bride. I had a wedding-themed birthday party, you guys. I made my mum make me a wedding cake instead of a birthday cake. Yes, that's true. And what's even more cringeworthy than that is that I made my school boyfriend, who I used to hold hands with, I made him come as the groom. I mean, you can imagine how my love life kind of turned out, right? So obsessed with this idea of being whisked off my feet and having this fairy tale happily ever after. Now, I got to age 16, and I found myself at Performing Arts College, not too far away from here in Stratford. And back then, there was no big booties, there was no Kim Kardashian. It was all about the size 0. You guys remember that? Awful time. It was all about this thin, lollipop head look. And all of my friends were dieting. All of them were skipping their lunch, cutting out carbs, having these shakes. And we were only 16, 17, so we were just becoming women. And we were starting to reject our bodies. And I just really wanted to fit in with my new friends at college. And so I started doing the same. I started dieting. Except for me, because I was a perfectionist, I couldn't just diet. I had to go that one step further. So before I knew it, I had cut out not just carbs, not just lunch, but all meals together. And I found myself getting more and more sick. And I developed an eating disorder, which I didn't know but would rule my life for 7 years. Now, I used to tell myself this story that if I just found the perfect diet, then my life could finally begin. I tried everything. I did the maple syrup diet, the lemon cleanse. I did the slim fast stuff. I did the Special K diet. Anyone remember that? That was awful. You just end up eating, you just end up binging on Special K, right? Every single diet you can imagine, I tried. On Monday, I would be so strict, and then by Wednesday, I would find myself binging and beating myself up and wondering why I was such a massive failure. But I really, truly believed that if I just got down to a perfect number on the scale, then my life could begin. But I was miserable inside, and no number that I hit was ever good enough for me. It didn't make me love myself. It didn't make me feel any better. I still hated who I was. I still hated my body at any number. Meanwhile, in my love life, I had been swept off my feet by a handsome military man who proposed to me within 4 months. I mean, you can imagine how over the moon I was with that. Start planning this white wedding. It was like the dream, right? And his love for me made me forget how little love I had for myself. And when I started to heal with my eating disorder, the only thing that actually helped me to heal, no diet actually helped, no new piece of nutrition information helped me heal, no therapist, no psychologist, no hypnotherapist, no one helped me until I was willing to actually help myself. Until I was willing to do the work, the inner work, until I was willing to actually realize I have to love myself. I can't just keep trying every cleanse out there on the market without doing the internal work first. I have to learn to love myself. I have to heal my relationship with food. And as I started to heal, I went on this journey of personal growth and spiritual growth. And as I went on this journey of loving myself, everything in my life started to change, including my marriage. Because, as I'm sure you guys know, when you start to grow and change, some people want to come on that journey with you, and some people don't. There are going to be some people that aren't wanting to support that next level version of you, and that's okay. Not everyone is supposed to. So, you can imagine how devastated I was when I found myself getting a divorce at the ripe old age of 25. I was crushed. Little 5-year-old Melissa definitely did not want that to be a part of the plan. And I think for anyone in here that's divorced, you never plan on getting divorced when you're walking down the aisle, right? So I'm 25, I'm getting a divorce, I'm moving back in with my mum, and I'm like, right. And I decided to do what all divorced people do. I drank a lot of wine. But then I decided to do something else. I decided to watch every single episode of Sex and the City that was ever created, which I think is an absolutely mandatory part of every breakup, right? But then I did something else. I booked myself a one-way ticket to Bali for my own Eat, Pray, Love adventure. I'm like, okay, I've got to go deeper on this self-love thing. I've got to really learn to love myself before I call in my next partner. I've got to have time by myself. So I move out to Bali. I'm having this like self-love, gorgeous time with myself. But I'm still thinking like, oh, my soulmate is still out there. The one is still out there, right? And I start writing a list. You guys have all written the list. On that list is like, okay, what is he going to be like? He is going to be into growth. He's going to be spiritual. He's going to be able to travel. He's going to be successful. He's going to be great in bed. I'm like, great, I've got this amazing man on this list of paper. And I start looking at this list, and I'm like, what if I'm not the match for this? What if this amazing person that I've created isn't interested in me? What if I'm not good enough for this? And I put this list down, and I get into bed in my villa, and I pull up my sheets, and I'm just literally about to turn off the light, and a book catches my eye on the shelf. And the title of this book, I swear, was a message from the universe. And this book said, "You are the one." And I had full body goosebumps. I was like, oh shit. This person is not out there. This is who I need to become. I need to become my own soulmate. I am the one. What if there is no the one out there? What if the real game is about us becoming the one for ourselves? What if the real game is about us being our own soulmate? And then whoever else we get to meet, we just get to share that with, and it's a bonus. What if instead of waiting for the hero to come along and rescue me, the damsel in distress, the princess, the helpless princess waiting, what if actually I could become my own frickin' hero? And that's what I want to share with you guys today, is I want you guys to all get out of any damsel in distress mentality and step into being the hero of your own frickin' life. Yes? But the hero doesn't just become the hero, doesn't just get born the hero. You have to become the hero by doing heroic actions and showing up for yourself. Now, if you've all got notepads, paper, something to write on, I want you to do me a favor and write down your biggest accomplishment in your business, in your work, whether that is with Arbonne or whether that is elsewhere, the thing that you are most proud of achieving. Write that shit down. And now I want you to write underneath that, who did I have to be in order to achieve that? Who was I being in order to make that happen? Because in order to make that happen, you had to step up to a new version of you, right? Something had to change. You had to change the way that you were being. You had to let go of something. You had to make a sacrifice. You had to step up for yourself in a way that you'd never done before. Who were you being in order to achieve that goal? Write it down. Next, I want you to write down your biggest goal, your biggest, most audacious dream that you've got. Write it down. And this should be something that actually scares the bejesus out of you, makes you like shiver, because it's that big. What is that goal? What is that dream? And then underneath that, I want you to write this question. Who do I need to become in order to make that dream inevitable? Who do I need to become? Who do you need to become? Anything comes to mind, I want you to write that down too. Who do you need to step into? What version of you do you need to step into to make that dream an absolute inevitability? Because if your dream is up here, which is exactly where it should be, but you're currently down here, what you're going to get is you're going to get people around you say to you, well, that's not very realistic, is it? But guess what? Realistic just means your reality. And we create our own reality. So everything's realistic if we make it so. So if your dream is up here and your current reality is here, what a lot of people do is they have this dream, but then they listen to everyone around them, and they go, oh, I'm going to downgrade my dream. I'm going to downgrade it so it's a little bit more realistic, so it doesn't make everyone else around me feel uncomfortable. And they never go after that big, audacious dream. What I'm asking you guys to do is keep that dream high and upgrade your current reality until you are a match for that dream, right? You're going to have to let old versions of you die. You're going to have to completely abandon old ways of thinking, old identities, old versions of you if you want true transformation. Because the butterfly can't become the butterfly if he's still identifying as a caterpillar. That would be a disaster. You have to be willing to let old versions of you die. It's about who you get to become along the way, right? Now, most of us go through our lives kind of thinking, when I get that thing, then I'll finally feel good about myself. For me, it was, when I finally reach that number on the scale, then I'll finally feel good about myself. Down and down and down my weight went, and I still never really felt good about myself. Sure, I would hit the numbers that I set, but it would just be like a fleeting, like, oh, yay, okay, I guess I'm going to pick a new number now. You know, it's fleeting. It's not real happiness. People think, when I get that job or that promotion or that car or that man, then I'll finally feel good about myself. But if you don't feel good about yourself to begin with, none of that stuff is going to matter. None of that stuff is going to matter. Who in here has a white Mercedes from Arbonne? You don't sound very enthusiastic about it. Right? Amazing. And a lot of you guys want one, right? I'm guessing. Right. I'll bet you that you can ask any of the women or men in here that have that car, and I bet they'll tell you it wasn't even about the car. I bet they'll tell you it was about the person that they had to become along the way in order to make that car an absolute inevitability. It is about the impact that they got to make, and it's about the person that they had to become in order to get that reward. Because obviously, Arbonne just doesn't give you a car when you just join. Do you know what I mean? You've got to become a new version of you in order for that to be a match, right? When I first decided that I wanted to use my experiences of healing and self-love to write a book, I didn't know what I was doing. I've never written a book before. When I decided I wanted to be a speaker, I never spoken on stage. I was so nervous. I didn't know what to do at all. But instead of saying, I don't know how to do that, therefore I'm not good enough, I'm just going to sit this one out or let this stay a dream forever, I said, I wonder who the version of me is that is an inevitability for. I wonder who that woman is. Wow, I'm excited to become her. I am excited to become her. Now, I want to share something really cool with you. Do you want to hear something crazy? Do you want to hear something crazy? So when I found out that this event was here at the NEC, I got a little bit emotional, to be honest, because I grew up not too far away from here in Coventry. Wow, Coventry! Yes, I grew up in Coventry, and so I knew the NEC really well. And I can actually remember 6 years ago, I was doing some part-time work as a promotional model, and I did some catwalk things. And I actually remember doing a job here at the NEC, a catwalk job. And at the time, I've actually got a picture. At the time, that's me in the middle, I was not very well. I was really struggling with my food and my weight. I was pretty miserable. But I rolled up to this catwalk in my little Citroen C1, and I sat outside in the car park. You know when you just don't want to go in to work? I'm sat in this car, just what is the last time that I can leave it till to go in? And at the time, I had something stirring in me. I knew that I wanted to start a business, but I didn't know what that was going to look like. And I was doing this business training on the internet, my first ever one. And I sat in the car park at the NEC 6 years ago, and I paid for my first business training with a credit card because I had no money. And I didn't know that my life was going to completely change. I had no idea that I was going to write books, speak on stages, run retreats. I had no idea. So that is 6 years ago. Now, do you think that that girl there is someone that speaks on stages? Hell no. I had to literally let that girl die. I had to let this old identity, these old stories, this old version of me completely die in order for a new version of me to be reborn. So if that can happen in 6 years, imagine what you guys can do in 6 years. The version of you right now is not a match for that biggest dream, and that's okay. It's not supposed to be. You're supposed to keep transforming all the way up until you reach that big, crazy goal, until it becomes absolutely inevitable for you. Who's excited to reach their crazy big goal? Yes? But who also knows that it's going to take change? Yeah? It's going to take something changing. Your relationship with change is really important. If you're someone who is scared of change, how do you think you're going to reach that dream? Something has to change. You have to step up, become the hero of your own life, and go on a heroic journey. Which leads me to this. The hero's journey, and I've created the Shero's journey because there's a lot of women in the audience today. So you're going to be the Shero in your own life, okay? Now, Joseph Campbell actually coined this, the hero's journey. For those of you that don't know what the hero's journey is, it is the story structure that is woven throughout all of the greatest stories of our time, all of the myths, all of the ancient stories that were told around campfires. It is what exists in Star Wars. It exists in The Lion King. It exists in Harry Potter, Moana. All of the hero stories is based on this journey. And this journey is so important to us because this is the journey that we are going on our whole lives through, okay? So here we go. We're starting out in the ordinary life. This is the place where everyone is born into, the ordinary world. This is the place where you kind of think that life is just happening to you, right? Life is just happening to me. The world is a hard place. We watch the news. We live in this state of fear. We think, this is my role. This is where I belong. I know my place. And we don't think about venturing out. This is also known as the comfort zone, also known as the place where zero growth happens, okay? So this is where we're all born into. Now then, on the flip side of the threshold is the unknown. That is outside of the comfort zone. That is this special world where all of our dreams happen. Okay? But in order to get into that unknown world, you've got to be willing to cross that threshold. And when you cross that threshold, that's when you let the old versions of you die. So you're in this ordinary life. Next thing that happens, you get a call. You get a call to adventure. Now, let's use Moana for an example, because we all know Moana, right? And I think Disney's finally started playing it right, because now we've got some female heroes. Woo! So, Moana is living her ordinary life. She's on the island. She knows deep down there's something more for her, right? But she's been given, this is your role, this is your place, you've got to stay where you are, do as society tells you to do. She gets a call to adventure. The call to adventure is something changes. Something changes, and there's an opportunity, right? For Moana, what happened? The heart of Te Fiti was stolen. The island starts drying up. There is no fish. The island starts, becoming dead. Someone needs to step up. Now, for you guys, you will have received a call to adventure, and that could look like a new opportunity, a business opportunity, right? With Arbonne, you received this call to adventure. It could be a trip, an opportunity for travel. It could be an opportunity for a meeting with someone. Whatever this call to adventure is, it creates a spark inside of you. And there's something in you that says, ooh, this feels good, this is exciting. But a lot of times what happens at this point is we refuse the call. And actually, in a lot of hero stories, to begin with, the hero refuses the call. And you guys might have refused this call in the beginning. How many of you guys, when you first had this call, this opportunity present itself with Arbonne, you were like, oh, it sounds a bit too good to be true? Sounds a bit, you were a bit skeptical maybe. You know, you thought, oh, I can't possibly do that. You might have refused the call to begin with. And if you remember in Moana, she decides she's going to cross that threshold, but then she gets a massive wave come up, she gets washed back onto the beach, and she decides, I can't do that. I should listen to my father. I should just go back to my ordinary life. It's not me. I can't step up. I can't be that. So the hero refuses the call because the hero's scared, right? Then the hero meets a mentor. And the mentor helps them see what's been inside of them all along. The mentor says, you've got this. You can do this. The mentor believes in the hero before the hero can believe in themselves. And for Moana, who was the mentor? The grandma, exactly. And the grandma said, you can do this, Moana. It's you. And for you guys, you will have had a mentor, right? Do you guys remember who your mentor was that said, you can do this, you've got what it takes? I bet your mentor's in the room today, right? So the hero meets a mentor, and the mentor says, you can do this, you can cross that threshold. So with the help of the mentor, they cross the threshold. Straight away, they come into problems and pitfalls. Straight away, they've stepped into this new identity. They've stepped out of their comfort zone. Life will never, ever, ever be the same again. Straight away, they get tests. Have you ever made a big commitment to yourself to step outside of your comfort zone, and then the universe is like, oh, you sure about that? Let me throw you some massive tests and see what you're made of. It happens, right? And it's in these times, it's in these problems and these pitfalls that the hero really gets to see what she or he is made of. Will they go back into the comfort zone? Will they? Or will they keep overcoming these problems and pitfalls and build their character along the way? These problems and pitfalls could be self-doubt, people around them not believing in them. It could be obstacles in the way. Because it's never easy, right? And it's not supposed to be easy, because everything worth having takes something from you. It takes a new level of you, a new version of you to step into. The road to success is not just a straight line. So you get your problems and your pitfalls, you start overcoming them. The hero starts to see what he or she is made of, and then you find yourself in the pit of dragons. This is the dark night of the soul. This is the breakdown. This is when the hero says, oh my God, I don't think I'm cut out for this. And the hero starts to face big, big dragons. Now, here's a fun fact for you. We always see dragons in fairy tales, right? And the dragon is a mythical creature. Now, the dragon is actually made up of 3 of what were our greatest fears when we were cave-dwelling animals. It was made up of giant cat. We were afraid of giant cats, giant birds, and snakes. So the dragon is the culmination of what were our 3 biggest fears: the bird, the cat, and the snake. And that is the dragon, right? So this dragon image that we see that famous image of the hero slaying the dragon. Except, and here's the kicker, the dragons are not out there. The dragons are in here. The dragons are up here. So what I'm going to share with you is the 5 main dragons that we have to slay on our hero's journey. Now, these are particularly prevalent for women, because we get so caught up in our head of, I'm not good enough, what are people going to think of me? So the first dragon that you have to slay on your hero's journey, or your Shero's journey, is the dragon of, I'm not good enough. If you do not believe that you are worthy of your dreams, no one else will either. Self-love is the first thing that you have to learn on this journey. Self-love will change your entire life. Ask yourself, what would I do if I loved myself just a little bit more? What decisions would I make? What would I say yes to? What would I say no to? If I loved myself a little bit more. You have to believe that you are worthy. Self-love will change every single area of your life. And look, I truly believe if you were born with these little gems inside of you, these little dreams, then you were also born with the absolute potential to fulfill them. They aren't there by accident. They're there for a reason. They're there. That's the universe saying, follow me, follow me, follow me, follow me. But if you completely block that out by saying, I'm not good enough, and you don't love yourself enough to do that, nothing will happen for you in your life. The ultimate act of self-love is pursuing a life beyond your wildest dreams. The people who don't love themselves, they stay. They stay in their ordinary life because they don't believe that they're worthy to even go on the journey, to even take the call to adventure. They say, I can't do that, I'm not good enough. But you guys know that you're good enough, right? You guys wouldn't be here if you'd not said yes to that call to adventure. You guys would not be here if you had not crossed the threshold, right? So slay that dragon of I'm not good enough and start to really love yourself, because the most important relationship of your life that you'll ever have is the one you have with you. Yes, the one you have with yourself. Every other thing in your life is simply a reflection of that love that you have for yourself. So that is your first dragon. Second dragon that you have to slay is comparison. Why does my journey not look like everyone else's journey? Why does my body not look like everybody else's body? Well, guess what? The universe made it that way. The universe created 8 billion of us, all completely different from each other, all with completely different life experiences, different stories, different body types, different world views. Everything is completely different. And I'm sorry, but that's magical. That's magic. So never compare your journey to someone else's journey. Only ever compare to who you used to be, a past version of you. That's all you should ever compare to. Comparison is actually an act of violence towards yourself, and it's an act of betrayal towards yourself. Can you imagine going out with someone who every time they went online or every time they walked into a bar, they were like comparing you to everyone else in the room? Like, her boobs are bigger than yours, and her dress is nicer, and your hair's, can you imagine going out with someone that compared you to someone else all the time? You would dump them, hopefully. But we do that to ourselves all the time. So don't ever compare yourself. Only ever compare yourself to who you used to be. Yes? So that is the second dragon that you have to slay, the dragon of comparison. Third dragon that you have to slay is the fear of other people's judgments. Why do we care so much about what other people are going to say or think? It eats us up inside. And have you ever noticed that the people, when we actually go, who is it? Who is this they? What are they going to say? What are they going to think? Who is this mysterious they? When you actually sit down and think about who that is, it's usually people from our past. It's usually like old school friends or old work colleagues or, our ex-partner's friends or some people in our past. And that's like trying to drive a car while you're looking in the rearview mirror for what's going on behind you. You're not going to get very far. You're going to crash, right? It's always like Becky from school. Who cares? Only look forward. Care about the people that are close to you. And care about what you think of your decisions. As long as you are in integrity, as long as you are making choices from the right place, the right people are going to support you. And look, I really learned this lesson. I lost my dad quite suddenly when I was 21. He was given 4 months to live and passed away. And I was in this deep grief. And have you ever been in this place where you feel like you're in a black hole of grief? It kind of swallows you up. And then you make the mistake of going on social media, and you realize that life is just carrying on, and people actually don't really care about what you're going through. It made me really angry. I was like, how can these people not understand my pain, what I'm going through? How is everyone just carrying on, living their lives? Do you know why? People really don't care. They don't. They're wrapped up in their own world way more than yours. And that's when I really kind of got the lesson of like, people really don't care what you're up to. Like, if people are going to judge you, it happens for like a second, and then they're over it, and they're back in their own world. And that was really, for me in my life, when I decided to not give a damn about what everyone from school thought about my life choices. I was like, they really don't care. So if they don't care, I'm not going to care. So that's how we slay this dragon of other people's judgments. We just focus on if we are judging our decisions. If we are judging our decisions, then we need to take a long, hard look at our decisions. Our decisions should be in integrity with our hearts. And as long as we love our decisions and our choices, we don't need people from school or people from your last job or people from your last relationship to love them too. Okay? So slay that dragon of other people's judgments. That was the third dragon. You guys keeping up with these dragons? Fourth dragon that you're going to need to slay is the fear of failure. Because let me break it to you. You're going to fail. You are. You have to. That's how you learn. You don't learn anything when everything's just smooth sailing. I'm only here because I've failed a bunch of times and learned what doesn't work and how not to do things, right? You have got to get over your fear of failure. And I know there are some perfectionists in the room tonight, because I was a perfectionist too. But perfection is really just a protection for rejection, right? We're trying to protect ourselves from getting hurt, from getting rejected, from failing, instead of really embracing the failure. Like, embrace the fact that you're going to try some things and you're going to suck. To start with, you're going to suck. And that's okay. Like, you've got to embrace that. Every single failure is an opportunity for growth and for learning. Every single breakdown that you have in your life is leading you to a breakthrough. All of my biggest perceived failures in life have actually turned into my greatest blessings. I spent 7 years at war with my body and food, in a dark, dark pit of self-hate and bulimia. It's a pretty big failure. Except now, I've been able to turn that breakdown into a breakthrough. I've been able to turn those wounds into wisdom. And it's turned into the biggest blessing of my life. Same with when my dad passed away. My dad passed away. It was a huge breakdown for me. I didn't know how I was going to get through it. But that really inspired me to step up to my life and live my life in a completely different way, as if I don't know when I'm going to get that life taken away from me. And for anyone who's ever lost someone close to you, you'll know it changes you. It changes how you live and how you show up. So again, huge breakdown led to tremendous breakthrough. And then same with my divorce. You know, back where I'm from, to divorce is like the biggest failure that there is. Especially for me, who grew up just so obsessed with weddings and marriage. It was a huge failure for me. But oh my God, my life since that time, since that divorce, has just been phenomenal. That breakdown led to an amazing breakthrough. So no matter what you think you're failing at, no matter what you're in with that breakdown, just know that you're on the verge of a breakthrough. And all of your failures are going to turn into the biggest lessons that you've got. And they're going to change your life. So, fear of failure, that is your fourth dragon. And your fifth and final dragon, and this one's going to surprise you, is actually the fear of success. Everyone's like, I'm not scared of success. We are, unconsciously. We can hold ourselves back because we're scared of our own success. Marianne Williamson said, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We get so scared of our own success that we start dimming our light to fit in with those around us. We start dimming our light or dampening our dreams so that other people don't feel uncomfortable. We're scared of our own success, and this shows up in unconscious sabotage. Who knows what I'm talking about when I say self-sabotage? You're like, yes. Self-sabotage shows up for us. It looks a little bit like this. The night before a really important presentation, you prep, and then the night before you go out and you get drunk. So then you're hungover. That's sabotage. Or, you spend ages revising for a really important exam, and then the week before the exam, you get infatuated with some man, and suddenly it's all you can think about, and you mess up your whole exam, even though you've spent ages, months and months revising. Self-sabotage comes up for a lot of people that I work with around food. They say, I know that I'm sabotaging myself, Mel, but I just can't stop. It's because they're scared of that version of themselves that is successful. They're so used to the ordinary world, the ordinary life, that ordinary version of them, that they become identified with it. And they don't know who they're going to be if they become successful. So it's scary. It's scary becoming someone new. It's scary. And so we sabotage. We get scared that, what if I leave people behind? What if I become so healthy and so into all my Arbonne friends that I leave my old friends behind? I'm scared of that. What if I, lose the friends that I go out drinking with every weekend? We don't want to lose people. So we hold ourselves back and we sabotage ourselves. And the way to get over this is actually to foresee that sabotage. Because I know a lot of people in here are like, you've been in that situation where you're sabotaging yourself and you're like, oh, here I go again, sabotaging myself. So your first step is that, being aware of it. But then I want you to be aware of it in the future. So be aware of, an old pattern of mine has been to sabotage myself. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to preempt that happening, and I'm going to take a different route so that I don't do that. That is true self-awareness, and that is real growth. Because we can go to all the seminars, we can learn all the things intellectually, but knowledge isn't power. It's only potential power. We've got to use it. We've got to make a change in our life. If we don't change anything, we haven't really learned anything, right? So fear of success, where are you holding yourself back because of that dragon? So you've got those 5 dragons, and write down, which dragon is it that I'm currently needing to overcome? Which dragon do I need to slay? Now, when you have overcome these dragons and, make no mistakes, these dragons are going to keep showing up for you time and time again in your life, you're going to receive these new powers. And these powers look like growth. They look like fulfillment. They look like new meaning. They look like a spiritual connection, a deep connection with yourself. purpose, impact. These are the powers that you get. Transformation. The real reward here when you slay the dragon is not the gold or the princess or the white Mercedes. It's who you get to become as a result of slaying your dragons. Then you're going to return to the ordinary world with these new gifts that you've got. And you're going to share your gifts and your teachings with everyone else back in the ordinary world. And the beauty of this is then you get to inspire and empower other people to go on their hero's journey. You get to provide the call to adventure. You get to provide that opportunity to someone else to go on their hero's journey. You get to become the mentor to someone else. Who's experienced this in Arbonne already? Yes? That is the beauty of this journey, and you're going to keep going on this journey forever. And every time you slay a dragon, you get more and more new powers, and you get to share those powers with everyone else. So as we spoke about before, you've really got to understand who this next level version of you is for you to step into her or him. So what I'm going to ask you to do is we're going to put pens and papers down for now. We're going to pick them back up in a sec. I want you to close your eyes. We're going to do a little visualization to end. So I want you to close your eyes for me. Uncross your legs. And just think about all of the dragons that you've had to slay just to be here in this room tonight. What have you had to overcome in order to say yes to this opportunity? In order to say yes to chase your dreams? What old versions of you have you already had to let die? And who do you need to become in order to get to the next level of this game called life? I want you to start imagining you at that next level of being. The you, that match is just inevitable for that dream. Who is she or he? How do they show up in the world? What do they believe about themselves to be true? What do they do for themselves each day? What do they say yes to? What do they say no to? Who do they surround themselves with? How do they wake up each morning? How do they go through their day? Who is this person? Can you feel into their being? What have they had to let go of? How have they had to change? What have they had to sacrifice? What old identities have been left behind? Now, when you've got a really strong vision of who this person is and you can really feel into their being, I want you to open your eyes and start writing and start describing who this person is, how she or he is different, what they're going to believe, what they're going to say to themselves every day, what they're going to say yes to, what they're going to say no to, who they surround themselves with. Start writing. Just write and write and write and write, because this has got to be crystal clear. The clearer that this is, the more easily you're going to be able to step into this next level version of you. What does this person believe about herself? What has to change? And when you've got this clear vision, I want you to stand up and put your hands on your heart and just feel who this person is. Great. Close your eyes and just feel into this person, this next level version of you, who they are, and recognize that you are standing in their shoes right now. You have everything inside of you to make that happen. Are you ready to become the next level version of you? Say yes. Say yes. Say, I am worthy. Say, I am enough. Say, it's my time. And I deserve this. Give yourself a massive round of applause. Thank you so much, you guys. You're amazing. Thank you.